Hello, my name is Deborah, and welcome to Trifecta. Trifecta, three parts. This channel will deal with those who experience one of the three, two of the three, or if you're really special, all three. ADHD, complex post-traumatic stress, and narcissist abuse syndrome. I created this channel to be a source of comfort and care and hacks for some of the stuff that you're going through. I intend to offer techniques on how to deal with it and receive comfort and release immediately sometimes from the emotional turmoil that one, two, or all three of those can cause. I entitled this channel Trifecta because I found that there's a lot of overlap in terms of the symptoms and conditions that the individual experiences with these three. Complex post-traumatic stress is certainly a part of narcissist abuse syndrome. And ADHD, which is a dysfunction of the executive dysfunction, the executive part of your brain, which is like the thinking engineer that controls planning and reasoning, and is what you need to be successful and productive in this world. That's not to say that people with ADHD are not successful, because many are. A lot of the names that are famous, like Simone Biles, ADHD, Will Smith, ADHD, Whoopi Goldberg, ADHD, and just a whole plethora of other names that you would immediately recognize. Those people are diagnosed ADHD. Now, ADHD, at this channel, you will hear definitions of those three: ADHD, complex post-traumatic stress, and narcissist abuse syndrome. I will explain them in layman's term, not in doctor's term, because I am not a doctor. I am someone who's familiar with all three of these and have studied them extensively for almost 15 years, which makes me a pioneer in a very deep well of content. I don't know how often I will post. That will depend on the response. But I want to do it on a consistent basis because the need is so great. This is not something that I dreamed of doing, but I did not see anyone else that looks like me that was addressing these in the manner that I intend to. And let me go into what I hope to accomplish here for those who are dealing with one or all three of these. I first want to offer validation and comfort that the symptoms that any one of these cause is not something that you're imagining. It is very real. It is not something that you can control. And it may not be something that you were born with. In terms of narcissist abuse syndrome, that was something that happened to you. And complex post-traumatic stress, the same thing. ADHD is a brain development disorder. And so the symptoms of all of these are very real. And they are such that they make your existence in the world difficult for those around you and very painful for you, especially if the people around you don't validate that something is different and that it deserves attention and care. But I'm not here to, and perhaps I am here. I hope there's someone who maybe has none of these, but a loved one does, and a loved one has been diagnosed with ADHD or complex post-traumatic stress or narcissist abuse syndrome. Then you need to listen to someone who's familiar with those, and perhaps you can start to believe the person that says they're doing the best they can, that they absolutely are doing the best they can. And if you're that person who's struggling right now, take a deep breath. Just stop right now and take a deep breath. The breathing, the human body was designed that a deep breath signals to that primitive part of our brain called the amygdala or hippocampus, whatever. I'll call it I want to use layman's terms, the primitive part of your brain that controls fight or flight, freeze, fawn, or pose. That part is in overdrive, and you probably haven't stopped and taken a deep breath, or a couple of deep breaths in a long, long time. So let's do that. Let's do that right now. Just take a deep breath to a count of 6. Hold it. Let it out. One more time. When you take that deep breath, try to get the air into your mouth and push it down to your abdomen or to the back of your throat. You should already start to feel a little better. Let's do one more. You should feel a little bit better. It works. It's a mechanical thing. It's the way your body was designed. If you think about it, if you were being chased and you were in fight or flight, the first thing you did when you got to safety was take a deep breath. And several to calm yourself down. So that's something that you should remember to do when you're very anxious and you need to stop and take a deep breath. And every single time I broadcast, I will offer at least one technique on how to calm yourself and be present with yourself. So I want to offer one technique or hack, body hack to calm yourself down. I'll offer a definition. What do definitions do? They affirm, they put a name to what you're feeling. I know how important it is to have a vocabulary for the things that you're experiencing in your body and in your environment. And for someone who's going through complex post-traumatic stress and narcissist abuse syndrome and who is ADHD, recently diagnosed ADHD, has no clue how to even explain to someone what it is they're feeling or why they did what they did or how they did what they did sometimes. And so I will offer one or two definitions that I hope will give you some comfort in knowing that it's real. There's a word for it. And let's see, so and I hope that offers not only comfort but courage not to give up. This whole channel is not to come and say, oh my gosh, I have this, I have narcissist abuse syndrome, I've suffered complex post-traumatic stress, or I've recently diagnosed ADHD, life will never be the same. Well, that part is true. Life will never be the same. But that doesn't have to be a bad thing. Okay? You will become a lot smarter, and it's up to you whether you evolve into something beautiful. That's my goal. My goal is for you to keep on keeping on and have the courage to know that you can evolve into something stronger and beautiful and happy, yeah, happy again, and loving again, and safe, and feel safe and at peace. And I know, if you have just come out of a situation that caused complex post-traumatic stress or narcissist abuse syndrome, and you have ADHD or you don't, that you may not even believe that you can get better. And you are fighting to become the person that you recognized in the mirror before. The good news is the person you create can be a beautiful thing to find in that mirror. The sad news is the person you were used to seeing in that mirror doesn't exist anymore. Because those narcissist abuse syndrome and complex post-traumatic stress changes, there are changes that occur in your brain. And our brain is neuroplastic, and so it can continue to change for the better, just like it's gone through the trauma, because trauma affects the brain. The body keeps score. The body keeps score. So your body is reacting to what you've been through. So don't blame yourself when there is emotional dysregulation. Emotional dysregulation. And that's when you feel like you're a swinging pendulum of emotions. One minute you're tearful and sad and depressed, and another minute you're enraged and angry, and the next is just apathy. You don't see why you should go on. All of those are, I don't want to say normal, but those are expected things that you feel with one of the trifecta. You are going to feel those, and your body, your brain is searching for a calm place, and just like a pendulum starts to swing and goes back and forth and then settles somewhere in the middle. That's what the goal is here, for you to get calm enough to settle to where you trust yourself, you trust your decisions, you trust that you can make decisions. And I may be bouncing around, and it's because I will be very transparent to say there will be bad days. There will be days where it's hard for you to focus. Now I'm speaking to really all three. ADHD, focus is a challenge, dating. And if you're recently diagnosed, and one of the, I hope I mentioned at the very beginning, this is not a channel that I ever dreamed of having. This is one out of necessity. This channel is born out of necessity. I did not find someone who looked like me that have the depth of knowledge that I've acquired that was addressing this. And I know, for instance, that African American women are the highest percentage of new diagnosed cases of ADHD, especially those that are postmenopausal. And for the first time to be diagnosed with ADHD and come to grip with, you've always had it, but the hormonal imbalance caused by menopause has spun you into a place that you never could have imagined even existed. That's very hard to deal with, especially when you're dealing with it in your 50s and 60s, when your body is already going through enough changes as it is to be faced with the fact that you are now handed something where you have to learn coping skills. You have to learn coping skills to do the things that you used to do, that you are not able to do as easy as you did before, and that requires so much more energy. Where the motivation is gone and the drive is gone and just the ability to get up and do it. You can go from a highly functional person to what others would describe as lazy and couch potato, or just you feel like you're aging so fast because you're tired. No, my dear sister. that could very possibly be part of the depression, of course, with the post-traumatic stress, the stress, but also the ADHD, the executive function dysregulation. I've had an instance where people had a very successful career only to get to retirement and feel like they've become an idiot and that they can't navigate life. And that was after being diagnosed with ADHD or going through Narcissist Abuse Syndrome in a relationship, or went through trauma for a period of time that left them with complex post-traumatic stress. Like I said, the reason I call it the trifecta and the reason I put all three of those on one channel is because the things that your body experiences in all three of those, there's just so much overlap. I didn't want this first to be overwhelming, and I don't feel like it is. To the person that resonates with the information that I'm delivering, it's probably the first breath of fresh air that you didn't even know existed. That someone lives with it, has survived it, not only surviving but thriving, and can find joy and happiness and strength and courage and self-esteem and pride. Um, I like self-esteem and confidence more than pride. uh, but you like the person that you see in the mirror. You respect the person that you see in the mirror. You can forgive the person that you see in the mirror for past mistakes. Um, One of the things I'll address just a little bit of each one, and I think I'll start with Narcissist Abuse Syndrome. That's a big one. Narcissist Abuse Syndrome is a diagnosis. And one of the foremost professionals is Dr. Romani. And if you, I'm making this in April of 2024. If you're watching it in the future, this is in the month of April 2024. And there was a huge TikTok phenomena, viral individual entitled Risa Tisa, Risa Tisa, that came out of, she called it a pathological liar, a marriage. He was clearly a narcissist, and I can use that. That's a term that's thrown around way, way too much. However, Dr. Romani, I believe, I don't want to misquote her, I think she felt comfortable in the guy's name that she referred to as Lesion, what the character, and so let's say his behavior exhibited a lot of the characteristics of a narcissist. Okay, because I am not a doctor, so I do not do a diagnosis. However, to say someone is a narcissist is not to diagnose them. So you can't be sued by calling somebody a narcissist because it speaks to character rather than an illness. The illness is a narcissist personality disorder, and a doctor has to diagnose that. But narcissist or narcissism refers to the behaviors that person exhibits. So, hope that I differentiated there enough. So, but let's just say somebody is, now what is a diagnosis in the mental illness book is narcissist abuse syndrome, because you are ill if you stay in a narcissist abuse narcissistic environment for a period of time. When you come out, there are things that your body is going through that you should seek treatment for. And this channel is not treatment. It is a place for you to come because you can't live in a doctor's or therapist's office 24/7. And sometimes you just need to connect with somebody who understands what it is you've been through and validates it. And so, the word for the day, I'll give a word for the day for each of the three. The word for today for I'll give two words for narcissist abuse syndrome. The first one is gaslighting. Oh my gosh. 15 years ago, probably nobody could even define gaslighting. The term comes from a movie, a very, very, very old movie, where this guy, the husband, was trying to make the woman think she was insane. And it was back in the day when houses were lit with gas kind of candles, and he would turn down the gas or turn up the gas, and she would and the light, so the light would come on or the light would go off, and she was there by herself, and so she felt crazy because the light was either going on or going off, and he was just manipulating the environment to make her think she was crazy. The term is used when somebody is challenging your reality. They're challenging what your senses tell you you are experiencing. You look out and see the sky is blue. So, oh wow, what a beautiful day, the sky is blue. And they go, why did you say that? Anybody can clearly see the sky is not blue. There's clouds everywhere. And you're like, yeah, but it's still a nice day. Really? You think it's a nice day? There's clouds everywhere. The UV index is high. People can get sunburned. You think that's a nice day? You think that's a blue, this is a good day? And you like, now you're thinking, wow, maybe it's not a good day. Maybe there's too many clouds for me to say that it's a good day and the sky is blue. There it is kind of cloudy. Or an example, oh, there's one example where a couple travel all the time, and the woman is packing and getting ready for the trip, and the husband, and it's not, the narcissist is not always a man. They say the percentage of narcissists is greater with males, but there are female narcissists. There are a lot. So we're not saying that category of narcissism is assigned just to the male gender. But the example, one of the examples that sticks with me in terms of making a person think that what they heard and understood didn't exist is a couple that was traveling. They traveled a lot, and the woman's packing, and the man looks over and goes, what are you doing? And she's like, well, we're leaving tomorrow. And he goes, but you're not going. And she goes, what do you mean I'm not going? I saw you book my ticket. I mean, we planned this ahead of time. You know, you told me how to pack, what to pack, what we're going to take and everything. And he looks at her and goes, we discussed that, yeah, but I never bought your ticket. Remember, I told you I thought both of us could go, and I was going to let you know, but I put your ticket on hold, and it was going to, because the guy had an engagement, but his wife was coming with him, and so he explains to her that, no, she didn't have a ticket. She wasn't going, and that's not what he told her. He just told her he was going to look for a ticket. If he found, he would put it on hold for 24 hours. If it came down in price and they could afford it, she'd go. But he never told her she was going. And that was a complete lie. It was a complete lie. And the way this went on so many times that she really thought she was losing her mind until she started to take notes. And that's how she determined that this person that she trusted had gained her trust, was her husband, and for a number of years, and all of a sudden the behavior was different, and it must be her, because this is a person she loves. In order for a person to successfully gaslight you, make you challenge your perception of reality, it comes from a position of power. It has to be somebody you trust, that they would tell you the truth, that they have your best interest at heart. They wouldn't lie to you, which makes you then question self. So a stranger doesn't have the power. Somebody you don't trust or don't know, they can't gaslight you, because you don't have any belief that they mean you well. So it would be hard for a stranger or a person coming from a position of no trust to gaslight you. They have to have some type of a role, like a parent or a sibling, or even a child, an adult child, or whatever, that where you would trust what they were saying would be true, to the point that you would question yourself, your own reality. So that's what gaslighting is. It's when a person from a position of trust, personal trust, that you personally trust, has now made you think your perception of something is not how it happened, it's not the way it is. That's unnerving. And when that is done enough, your brain starts to tell you that you cannot trust your own decisions or your own perceptions. And that's a very, very unsettling thing for a person to deal with. So I hope that definition of gaslighting was clear enough for you to understand that when you live in that type of mental torture and abuse for a period of time, questioning yourself, doubting yourself, afraid to make decisions, that is your brain, that is your body dealing with the poison that you ingested. And so you should be very patient and loving to self. Hopefully, there today, 15 years later, or 15 years, I've seen it progress. I saw it start to appear in first social media platforms way back in the day, and now it is, for those who are experiencing it now, as horrible as it is, it's never going to be a pleasant situation. Doctor, therapists, the right therapists recognize it and now are being trained, because it used to be you could get harmed even more by going to a therapist who was not aware of narcissist abuse syndrome and would tell you just to work harder, try harder to be on time, try harder to keep the house clean, try harder to just follow through on what you said. So I don't want to go out too far. Gaslighting is one, is the definition. And so if you've been gaslit, if you've been gaslit, one of the things you can expect is the self-doubt and low self-esteem, because even to know that that person tricked you, you tend to feel weak, that you didn't see it coming, that you're an adult and you should have picked up that something was wrong. Oh dear one, please forgive yourself. You were a healthy, strong, bright light. That's what narcissists are attracted to. They are attracted not to someone less than them. Never, never. The challenge is to manipulate, to control, to be a parasitic influence on someone. They wanted what you had. Your love, your power, your success, whatever it is, you were the bright light. And so, and they are very clever, and this is who they are and what they do. So they will do it to the next and the next and the next, and you were not the first, and you will not be the last. And so don't take it personal It was not a weakness in you that you were put in that situation, that you found yourself in that situation for however length of time that you were in it. This channel speaks to those who have escaped it and no longer live in that environment. I choose, it was a hard choice, but it's just beyond my scope to provide much comfort to those who are forced, maybe because of small children and the inability to provide for them, that they still are in that narcissistic environment. This channel can help you by validating that what you're going through is real. So while I won't say go somewhere else, you're not going to get anything here, you will. But my focus will be on those who are coming out of that situation and what they can expect. And dear ones, it is not I got out this month, I'm going to be back to myself in a few days or a few weeks. No, no. One of the things that I discovered in research and personally, they said for every year under a narcissist, the recovery time is 3 to 5 years. I remember the first time I read that, it was a very tearful experience to know that it would be 3 years minimum before I resembled the person I used to be in the mirror. or that, and so, but dear ones, and that's why when and Risa Tisa, if you just go to YouTube or TikTok and it's out there. It's so many people that took it. I mean, she was on the Today Show and just interviewed by everybody because her story with the narcissist that she was married to for just 1 year, and people were saying there's no way he could have done all those things that she claims he did. I absolutely believe everything she said he did, and much of it she didn't even talk about because she'd still be talking. I bring her up to say that I think she was in her 3rd year of leaving, because I think, and I may be wrong, that she left in 21, and it was 21, 22, 23 that she started this TikTok and it just blew up. That period of time is where you heal to a point where you have to talk about it. You have to, someone has to hear it. And what you're saying, most people would never believe. And she mentions in her video, because people challenged her as to why are you saying all this now, and we think you just want the attention and everything. And her thing was, her purpose was, if I can just help one woman one woman is helped and saved from that type of relationship, then I can feel good. I believe her that is her, what she thinks is the reason why she made it, and that is so true. It is absolutely true. What I would like to add to it is she had to get it out. She had to get it out into the atmosphere, because that was another way of her healing. And back in the day, You cannot pay a therapist to sit there 24/7 or see them every day of the week. If you could afford it and you could find one that knew what you were talking about and could validate you and offer you uh, some beneficial treatment, uh, that 1 hour a week or every 2 weeks or once a month was just not enough. At that point, there comes a point in the healing where you have to tell the story. It has, and someone, even if the someone is a camera, a phone that you're speaking into, and you don't see the people that see you, you have to say it. You have to tell someone. That's a part of the healing process, is getting it out there. And yes, she could remember the details. It's like playing a movie in your head. And people were saying her story is so unbelievable, but believable, that it should be picked up as a movie. I hope it is. I hope it is, because perhaps it will be what someone, male or female, just what they need to see to avoid that type of relationship. Because you are not, there is nothing in family training or good parenting that can identify, can teach a person all the things that they need to look for to assess that they are in a narcissistic relationship. However, once you've been through one and you take the time, as she is doing, and not jump into another relationship, which is absolutely the worst thing you could do. You take that period of healing, not a month, not 3 months, minimum a year, for just the chemicals in your brain to come back to normal levels, and for you to just reflect on what you've been through. Um, those who go into another relationship are sitting ducks, or usually attracted to another narcissist who swoops in and does the love bombing and then continues the process of mental abuse um, that narcissist atmosphere creates. Okay, so I've covered gaslighting, and I have covered the need that you have to tell the story. You have to. I guess, what would that be? It would be good if you have a therapist, and like I said, there are therapists now that know, that validate that can recognize narcissist abuse syndrome and can give you some techniques. But a lot of time, just letting the body heal, a lot of self-care is very necessary. And then I guess I'll end there, because I went through the comfort and the knowledge. So I covered the term gaslighting. I validated the fact that that person will not trust themselves and trust decisions that they make for a while. But that will come back. That will come back, and you will evolve into, if you do the work, and you say, oh, work, I don't have the energy to work, because you're probably very depressed and having mood swings and all of that. The work is being kind to yourself, being gentle to yourself, recognizing that you went through something that you did not ask for nor deserve. And I want to be very, very clear. You did not do anything to deserve the treatment that you receive in a narcissistic relationship. Blame, shame, guilt were things that you experience from that treatment that you don't deserve. You don't deserve to shame yourself or to be shamed by anyone else, or to be guilty because you did not recognize it or know how to get out of it. A lot of self-forgiveness. And I'm up to 45 minutes. This is the very first one. And I'm going to stop. And I hope the breathing, just the deep breaths that you took for 3 deep breaths, that you do that several times a day. Because the body does calm itself. And just that moment of clarity and calmness may be what you need. So until the next time, remember that information is just knowledge. I learned something. I heard something. But transformation is knowledge put in action. And I say it's knowledge applied wisely. So just because you heard the term, or I defined the term gaslighting, and you know that's what occurred, the action to take from that definition is to forgive yourself and not to shame yourself, and to know that what was done to you was kind of out of your control because you weren't aware it was being done. So the wise application of that would be a lot of self-care and learning more about what it is you've been through, and perhaps, and I strongly recommend seeking professional help. And so I like to end with the Serenity Prayer, which is not the Serenity Prayer. I don't even know. It may be a Christian prayer, but it's a prayer that they use in the 12-step program, which is not a religious association. Then I say that only because sometimes people, abusers, are associated with a religious order, and the last thing I would want to do would be to say anything that would drive someone away from feeling like this is a safe place. So, God of your higher power, whatever your higher power is, as the universe, or the Christian God, who's the God I serve, and I'm not ashamed of it. But God, grant me the serenity. Grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, which is everything outside of us. The courage to change the things we can, which is pretty much us. And the wisdom to know the difference. Be blessed.